Thank you very much for listening to the Voice of Job Seekers. This is Mark, your host, and if you want to know more about the show, you can go to voiceofjobseekers.com, press the speak pipe button on the right. You can leave a message right there on the site, and your laptop will pick it up with its own mic, and there you are, and I'll respond to you in one way that you need, either by phone or by email, or however you decide to choose. Today, I want to introduce to you Jessica Dillard of Dillard Associates. She's been in business about 20 years writing resumes for her clients, career staffing services, won several awards throughout the years. She writes cover letters, professional resumes, follow-up letters, LinkedIn profiles, executive biographies, or whatever her clients need. She's been doing that for a lot of years. So she is a great person, a great resource to talk to. And I just want to talk to her about that discussion that we had on Facebook a little while ago. First, Jessica had published on her Facebook page a single sheet. Looked like a resume at first, but it really was much more truncated than a resume. I noted it as a handbill, and I remember that from another resume writer that has been on the show, and also a good friend of mine, Bill Holland. And he introduced that in his book where I first saw it about 7 years ago, I think it was called Cracking the Job Market. And he talked about the handbill in that. And it's exactly what Jessica had on her page. And I knew what it was right away when I saw it. So our discussion on Facebook and my questions actually turned into an article on the voiceofjobseekers.com. I'll link to it in the show notes. But I just want to have Jessica on the podcast. For those who don't get to the blog very often or may have missed a post, you'll get to hear Jessica describe it in her own words. How are you today?
Well, thank you so very much, Mark, for having me on the show.
Sure. I'm grateful that you are able to cut time out of your busy schedule to do so. So the handbill, as we had discussed, you'd been using that for some time with your clients, correct?
I have. In fact, we implemented it in, I want to say 2016, the first quarter of 2016, and we've been sort of tracking it to see if it's productive, if it's yielding results, and we're getting feedback now from quite a few applicants and clients that we've serviced.
So has the feedback been positive so far?
So far it has. There are three particular areas that we're noticing we're getting the best results, and that's with our marketing professionals, those that are in sales and in advertising.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, let's describe the handbill and its purpose and maybe talk about its effectiveness a little bit. Give us a little definition. I called it a handbill. Is that what you call it?
Actually, it's a summary. What we do is we take the resume, the 2-page resume or the 1-page resume, and we condense it into a 1-page marketing piece. Mm-hmm. And what we're looking to do here is, at a high level, provide information that can be scanned in a matter of seconds. If I want to know more about someone and I don't have a lot of time because I'm in between meetings or I'm filtering information from point A to point B, one of the things I don't want to do is spend time reading in 11 fonts, right. 3-page resume. Mm-hmm. So my days moved pretty quickly, and I thought, how many people have these same obstacles? We're not only a professional resume writing service, we also deal with staffing. Mm-hmm. We deal with federal contracts. We deal with what we call one-offs or companies that call in just need an administrative assistant for one day.
Mm-hmm.
So my days are filled with resumes and people walking through the doors, or my phone is ringing. But I like to have information at my fingertips. I like to be able to figure out if the applicant or the candidate that I need has everything I'm looking for. So we took the idea of the resume and said, how can we condense this into one page, make it eye-catchy, but yet provide relevant information that's of importance.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know about how many years of experience does the candidate have, the level of education, his or her knowledge, their skills, maybe some of their most highlighted achievements. These are the things that I'm most concerned about when I'm trying to sell my candidate to a company and I have competition out there. So I need to get the information over quickly. And I found that most candidates who are looking for work were having the same obstacles.
Mm. So really, since it is going to be, usually you're handing it out at an event or somewhere where you're going to be amongst people, you have to assume that people don't have time to read through everything. So you really got to stick to the highlights and whatever is going to be eye-catching.
Absolutely. And Mark, you hit the nail on the head there. You're at an event. This is a face-to-face interaction. These are usually networking events. You may be at a career fair. You could be at a mixer or a chamber of commerce meeting. So typically when I coach clients, I tell them this tool will work perfectly at a face-to-face event. Do not email it. This is not your applicant-friendly tool. This is not something you're going to send blindly. This is after I have sat down to dinner and we've talked, and you may not be the hiring manager, but you may have a foot in the door. You may work for the organization that I'd like to get in with. And so now at the end of our conversation, I may say, Mark, well, if you have an opportunity or know of someone in your division that's hiring, feel free to share my information. And what you don't want me to do is hand you a CV of 15 pages. So I really want to provide you with something, just a high-level view, keep my name before you, something that you don't mind championing for me when you're back in the office. You don't mind walking it by HR or handing it to the next division manager and say, I met this young lady at a mixer and we had an interesting conversation. If you have an opening, I think she'd be a good fit for that position. Here's her contact information. A one-page, high-level view, all of the most important information highlighted for you.
Now, what's interesting is that I posted it on Instagram as well. And I don't know, you probably know Hannah Morgan, my friend who, writes about everything career. And she noted it, said, that's an infographic resume. What you presented. Now, it is possible that someone can actually also use that as a sort of a third wheel idea, is to, if you can capture it in a code, you could actually present that on a website. As I think about your design, how it is eye-catching, and you want to have something that does not look anything like a resume when you first look at it, just so that people aren't going, well, this is just another resume. But you can actually present that on on a blog if you had one.
Absolutely. And you can definitely do that. You can upload this resume. It can be, with one client right now I'm working with, we are translating her information into a QR code. And so one of the things she wants to be able to do is include a QR in this. You can manipulate this however you like. You can add your LinkedIn profile. You can add a QR code there that will take the receiver to an online biography. Or if you want to take them to your personalized webpage that you manage, a body of work. I most recently worked with a stylist, a hairstylist, who's opening up his practice overseas now, and he wants to be able to have a body of work out there that you can actually go and see without talking to them. So we're taking the same tool here and we're going to customize it per client. We're going to add information that you can add a picture. My client in Africa wants to include a picture of himself on there because he's in ministry. So this is important. And that's one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to design something that you have full control over, how you market yourself. No longer the traditional. And the traditional has its place, don't get me wrong, because applicant tracking systems are important. We need to get the information in the system so that the end user, the recruiters, the hiring managers, the decision makers can find your information. But if you notice with this handbill, your keywords are highlighted. I want them to pop off the page. I want you to see the branded organizations like Kraft Oscar Mayer, Hoffman Brands. Those stand out. And then when I read your accomplishments, $200 million in revenues, well, you may be the brand manager I'm interested in speaking with.
Right. Because again, your accomplishments will stand out more with a design that's easy to scan and that's attractive to look at.
Exactly.
Yep.
I like that infographic.
Yeah. Or someone can actually use it as what they call a JPEG or a picture, and they can go to Canva where it's free. Make a little account really quick. You can use your Facebook page and put it in a frame. Or the many frames or posters that they have there, and you can also offer that up in many different medias in many different ways, and make it again to make it attractive, to make it stand out, and something unique that people haven't seen before. But of course, we can't forget that the content is also really the most important part of it all. That is truncated, that is short, brief, it's powerful, and it leaves no doubt that that you're qualified or that your qualifications will stand out.
Exactly. And it begs me to ask for more. That's what we really wanted to do. I wanted to draw interest in the applicant, the person of interest there. And it causes the hiring manager to ask for your resume, the long version now. Ask that you go to their website and complete an online application because they want to get your information into the system. One of my candidates 2 weeks ago received an email that said, please go to our website and apply. And as soon as you apply, call me so I can pull your information. And it was simply from a handbill because it doesn't give the date. It doesn't give all of the information. We don't want to bore you with too much information when this is just a meet and greet.
Right.
When I first meet you at the mixer and we're talking, I find out that you work for a corporation I'm interested in, and you may not know what positions are available at this time. Or maybe there's a position that is coming available that has not made it to their careers page yet. But what you would be willing to do is take this piece of paper in the office with you on Monday morning and pass it along. It's not your typical resume. It will get more attention and a better response than most traditional resumes.
Sure. And it probably doesn't hurt to have a digital copy of it on your phone. So in case you want to send it email from your phone or even text it to the person that you come in front of, whether it's going to be a networking contact or a potential employer.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All
I
that
love
is
all
possible.
the possibilities.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But I think people are still wanting to hold on to yesterday in the sense of, that they think they have to still go through the rigor of the process instead of understanding that the process has been modified, that you don't have to always have paper even in hand to have an effective networking strategy.
I tell every client that comes through my door, you're your number one fan. You have to champion your job search. And it's really your in-person. If we could remember the days of eye contact and a good, strong handshake, a firm handshake, do you know how far that will carry your initiative?
Sure.
And so the idea is if I then give you a link to my website or my web page or any my LinkedIn profile, you'll be more prone to go visit that page having met me in person. I really stress move away from the computers. We want to utilize them; they're necessary,
Mm-hmm.
but also don't be afraid to meet that person in person. Don't be
Right.
afraid to show up. Don't be afraid to shake hands again and to let them know that you're looking for work. You're interested in seeing what they have to offer.
Yeah. And, you make it that much easier when you're prepared and
Yes,
prepared to be remembered. And this is just another
exactly.
tool. It's just another tool to put in your toolbox. That's all it is. So,
I love it.
yes, so do I, Jessica. And thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time. If people want to know more about you and what you do, how can people contact you?
Well, they can call me at our toll free number is 888-580-5504. And if you press extension 3, you'll come directly to me. Or you can visit us online at www.dillardandassociates.com. I'm always available and looking forward to meeting new people.
And that's the truth. She is. She's always ready to meet new people. And thank you again, Jessica Dillard of Dillard and Associates. And thank you all for coming for this short tutelage on how to create your own handbill. Again, you can go to the article, which is at thevoiceofjobseekers.com, and you can just scroll down. I think it's one of the first few that's there right now. It may not stay there that long. But the article will always appear. You can always look through Google. And then, or if you go to iTunes, you'll get the link to the show notes. In the meantime, thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back next week with more episode or one more episode. Don't forget, this is one of just 6 that we're having this summer. And then we're taking the summer off. So feel free to engage us. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to contact me. In the meantime, we'll see you next week.